Even the mainstream media is now admitting that the Earth is suffering a crisis of mass extinction. Michael Snyder reports scientists are telling us that we are in the midst of a worst mass extinction that our planet has seen since the days of the dinosaurs. So, why aren't more people alarmed about this? Have we become so dumbed down that we don't even have the intellectual capacity to care about our own future any longer? The future of our Earth. As I discuss in my book, my latest book, he says plankton are being wiped out at a staggering rate, and that means that all of the food chains in our oceans are in peril. Meanwhile, insects are disappearing so rapidly that experts are warning that they may be totally gone by about 100 years from now. Of course, countless other species are steadily going extinct as well. In fact, a recent study that included data from 32,000 populations of more than 5,000 species of mammals, birds, amphibians, reptiles, and fish discovered that, on average, those populations have plummeted nearly 70% in the last 50 years. Everywhere around us, life is being wiped out. That means that we are in danger of being wiped out as well. But for now, most people don't seem to care. As long as they have whatever they personally need, they're just going to keep enjoying their lives as they always have. Unfortunately, the clock is ticking. Last Sunday, 60 Minutes ran a segment in which they admitted that the Earth is suffering a crisis of mass extinction on a scale unseen since the dinosaurs. But on this New Year's Day, it says, the population is 8 billion. Today, wild plants and animals are running out of places to live. The scientists you're about to meet say the Earth is suffering a crisis of mass extinction on a scale unseen since the dinosaurs. Yes, this is really happening. Everywhere you look, life is being wiped out, and it's getting worse with each passing year. The recent NRP article boldly declared that animal populations are declining, and we've got limited time to try to fix it. Sadly, most people don't seem to understand that humanity will not be able to survive when the animals, fish, birds, and insects are gone. We're being openly warned that if we stay on the path that we're currently on, it will cause modern human society to crumble. That grim reality, according to the researchers, means that even if humans manage to survive in some capacity, the wide-reaching impacts of mass extinction, which include habitat destruction, breakdowns in the natural food chain, soil infertility, and more, would cause modern human society to crumble. If we want to turn things around, we need to take massive action right now. But the elite don't seem to have any solutions. Instead, they keep coming up with absolutely ridiculous ideas that won't do any good at all. For example, the New York Times editorial recently suggested that we should all mate with shorter people, quote unquote, in order to save the world. New York Times op-ed suggests that everyone should mate with shorter people in order to save the planet. Yes, really? Author Mara Altman claims that when you mate with shorter people, you're potentially saving the planet by shrinking the needs of subsequent generations. Lowering the height minimum for prospective partners on your dating profile is a step towards a greener planet, she adds in the piece. This was actually published by the New York Times. Sometimes I think that we're simply too stupid to survive as a species for much longer. Look, the truth is that one of the biggest problems that we're facing is that we are literally poisoning our entire planet with microplastics. Trillions upon trillions of microplastic fragments are in our air, our water, our soil, and our food. These tiny particles are systematically destroying the environment, and they have literally been found everywhere that scientists have looked on the planet. Microplastics have infiltrated every part of the planet. They have been found buried in Antarctica sea ice, within the guts of marine animals inhabiting the deeper ocean trenches, and in drinking water around the world. Plastic pollution has been found on beaches of remote, uninhabited islands, and it shows up in seawater samples across the planet. One study estimated that there are around 24.4 trillion fragments of microplastics in the upper regions of the world's oceans. Microplastics are the primary reason why we now have giant dead zones in our oceans. And given enough time, eventually everything in our oceans will be dead. Sadly, the amount of plastic that we all use continues to rise at an exponential rate, and so the amount of plastic in our oceans has also been rising at an exponential rate. The amount of microplastics found at the bottom of oceans has tripled in 20 years. Researchers found tiny pieces of plastic debris, smaller than the human eye can see, have been building up on the seafloor at a depth of more than 100 meters, the study reveals. Their accumulation mimics the increasing amount of plastic products used by society for things like packaging, bottles, and clothing, scientists said. Even the rain that falls from the sky is absolutely teeming with microplastics. As the rain falls on our farmland, our once fertile soil is becoming increasingly saturated with plastic. Eventually, our soil will contain so much plastic that we won't be able to grow much of anything. But I guess we'll just have to cross the bridge once we come to it, right? Because microplastic particles are so small, most of us never even think about them. But the truth is that they are everywhere, and that includes the dinners you're enjoying during the holiday season. Faye Cucchiero, a reader in the biochemistry and environmental pollution at the university, conducted a small study by examining two separate roast dinners. Both dinners contained chicken, potatoes, carrots, broccoli, and Yorkshire pudding. But one meal was made with ingredients that had been bought wrapped in plastic, while the other was not. The food made from the plastic-wrapped items contained 7 times more microplastics than the non-plastic wrapped one. According to the university's press release about the study's findings, in total about 230,000 microplastic particles were found. Year after year, all of us are consuming increased amounts of plastic, and one study actually determined that exposure to microplastics can cause cell death. We are systematically destroying ourselves and everything around us, and most people don't seem to care. The clock is ticking for humanity, and there is not much time left. Of course, the clock is ticking for each one of us individually as well. As Damar Hamlin's tragic case reminds us, life is incredibly fragile. We don't know what tomorrow will bring. It's finally here. Michael's new book entitled End Times, now available in paperback for Kindle and Amazon. This is by Michael Snyder. He says about the author. My name is Michael, and my brand new book entitled End Times is now available on Amazon. In addition to my new book, I've written 6 other books that are available on Amazon, including 7-Year Apocalypse, Lost Prophecies of the Future of America, The Beginning of the End, and Living a Life That Really Matters, Commissions Earned. When you purchase any of these books, you help to support the work that I'm doing, and one way that you can really help is by sending copies as gifts to family and friends. Time is short, and I need help getting these warnings into the hands of as many people as possible. I've published thousands of articles on the Economic Collapse blog, End of the American Dream, The Most Important News, and the articles that I publish on those sites are republished on dozens of other prominent websites all over the globe. I always freely and happily allow others to republish my articles on their own websites, but I also ask that they include this about the author section with each article. The material contained in this article is for general information purposes only, and readers should consult licensed professionals before making any legal, business, financial, or health decisions. I encourage you to follow me on social media, Facebook and Twitter, and any way that you can share these articles with others is definitely a great help. These are such troubled times, and people need hope. John 3:16 tells us about the hope that God has given us through Jesus Christ. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. If you have not already done so, I strongly urge you to invite Jesus Christ to be your Lord and Savior today. This is by End of the American Dream, Michael Snyder. Please leave your comments. Thank you for your support. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box